Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl is one of my favorite coming-of-age films. It tells the story of Greg, his coworker Earl, and their friend Rachel, who is dying of leukemia. Greg is an awkward high school senior who makes films with Earl. Greg and Rachel become unlikely friends after Greg's mother forces him to hang out with her. What made me love this film so much is the journey Greg goes on throughout it. Today, I want to analyze Greg's character arc and examine the different points in the story that create his change and explain how you can do the same in your own screenplay. This is why you should study Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. To understand how Greg changes, we must understand who he is at the beginning of the film. Greg starts out the story believing that he must remain distant and detached from everyone around him.
Never commit to an interaction that won't be casual or mellow.
He fears rejection and he fears intimate connection. He believes he cannot open himself up to other people because he believes that he is inadequate. This is where Greg starts. His character is defined by these beliefs that he holds, and it's these beliefs that will define his character change over the course of the story. And now we enter into the first turning point in Greg's character. Turning point 1, Greg is forced to hang out with Rachel. Greg's mother forces him to hang out with Rachel against his will.
My mom is going to turn my life into a living hell if I don't hang out with you. Just let me hang out with you for one day. I can tell my mom we hung out and then we'll just be out of each other's lives.
Greg clearly hasn't changed at all here. He doesn't want to develop a close connection with Rachel. He simply wants to do what he's told and get out. It's in this time that we also learn more about Greg and his beliefs.
Some people think Earl is my friend, but he's really not. He's more like a coworker.
Greg does not actually view Earl as a friend. He calls him his coworker. And this goes perfectly with our understanding of who Greg is. Greg is so afraid of rejection that he won't even call his closest friend his friend. And the next turning point happens soon after this. Turning point 2, Greg and Rachel actually become friends. Greg goes back to hang out with Rachel because he accidentally leaked to the high school that she has cancer.
Well, you know Rachel Kushner has leukemia, right?
Wait, Rachel is what?
And now, Greg and Rachel start becoming friends. Here, Greg is taking external actions that counter his internal beliefs. This creates conflict within him. However, like it or not, he is becoming Rachel's friend. At turning point 3, Greg's worst fears are realized. Turning point 3, Greg makes enemies and embarrasses himself. Rachel forces Greg to eat lunch with her and her friends. Greg gets extremely awkward and makes fun of Scott Mayhew.
Hey, everyone, check out Scott Mayhew's Tyrannosaurus Walk. It's a great way to get from point A to point B.
That was really mean, Greg. I think he hurt you.
Here, Greg is right. He is too awkward to meet new people and have other friends. In his first attempt, he embarrasses himself in front of Madison and creates an enemy in Scott Mayhew. This confirms Greg's initial beliefs. He shouldn't create connections with people because it will come back to bite him. This is an important moment, and it's something you need to consider in your own writing. Just because a character goes through change does not mean there won't be moments that challenge their change and send them running back into their old beliefs. This push and pull of consequences creates the story conflict and the overall character change. Also in this section, Earl takes time to explain to Rachel Greg's core beliefs.
So you and Greg are co-workers?
Nah, we friends. He just hate calling people his friend. Bottom line, dude's terrified of calling somebody his friend, and they saying, hey bro, I'm not your friend. Then he have to kill himself.
In the fourth turning point, Rachel starts chemo. This is an important part because this is the moment where Greg's friendship turns from a light friendship to something more serious. Now Rachel is truly going through something horrible and Greg doesn't know how to handle it. And so in this moment, Greg takes a step towards opening up and allowing Rachel to be his real friend. He lets Rachel watch the movies that he made with Earl. Notice how the external plot forces Greg into making a choice that changes his beliefs just a little bit. This is how you create a strong connection between your external plot and your character's internal change. You do it by creating external plot events that force your character to make a choice that shows a change in who they are and what they believe. At turning point 5, Madison tells Greg he should make a movie for Rachel.
Okay, I had an amazing brainstorm. I realized you need to make a film for Rachel. What do you think?
Now this becomes a huge challenge to Greg's beliefs. If he makes the film for Rachel, then it is a real act of an intimate friendship, so he's hesitant.
In the next few weeks, did I start making that movie? No, because I didn't agree to make that movie. All I said was word.
Greg feels trapped. However, he decides to move forward and make the film. At turning point 6, Rachel decides to stop doing chemotherapy.
I'm probably gonna stop treatment pretty soon.
What?
This is a huge moment of change. Greg has now created a strong, real friendship with Rachel. And now she's making a choice that he doesn't know how to handle. And not only that, but Rachel forces Greg to confront the war inside of him.
Oh please, Greg, you should be overjoyed. Now you can go back to your life of being invisible and detached and self-hating.
Rachel shows Greg that he hasn't actually decided what he believes. He has allowed other people to force him into doing things, but he hasn't been the one who has made the decision for himself.
Your mom forced you to hang out with me. Earl forced you to show me your movies. Madison forced you to make a movie about me. So yeah, what part of this did you actually want to do?
But Greg doesn't want to admit she's right. Instead, we go to turning point 7. Greg ends his friendship with Earl. Earl told Rachel about the movie they were making, and Greg is angry at him. But Earl challenges Greg's beliefs just like Rachel did.
Like, damn, I'm so tired of you treating this girl like she a burden. You know, her life is over after this.
And it's at this point that Greg fully changes. We can't see it yet, but this is the moment where he stops being complacent, detached, and scared, and begins being a real friend to Rachel. At turning point 8, Greg finishes the movie and shows it to Rachel.
It's not exactly what I wanted to say to you, but whatever. Let's just watch this first, okay?
He finally makes things right with her. He accepts the intimacy that real friendship brings. And just as he does, Rachel dies.
That was the last time I saw Rachel. She went into a coma shortly after that and died about 10 hours later.
Lastly, we have turning point 9. After Rachel's death, Greg is heartbroken. He opened himself up and accepted real friendship into his life, and it hurt him. But the beauty of it is that it was worth it, and we see that just because it ended doesn't mean it wasn't worth sharing. His friendship with Rachel was truly meaningful and valuable to him, and it was meaningful and valuable to her. And it's here we see the full, complete change in our protagonist, Greg. So how do you apply this to your own screenplay? Number 1, understand that character change should happen in stages. Your character doesn't change all at once. They change as the story unfolds. Their beliefs are tested. They struggle to decide what choice to make, and they sometimes stumble and fall backwards. Making your character's arc easy and simple makes for a boring story. Number 2, your character's arc will be defined by a change in their beliefs. Characters are defined mainly by their internal beliefs. If you want to change a character, use external plot events to force the character to make decisions that show a change in their internal beliefs. And if you're stuck at page 15 of your screenplay and struggling to consistently get your stories out onto the page, then I have a video for you to watch that handles the 3 things you need to actually get your first draft out onto the page. Click the first link in the description to watch for free now. Thanks for watching.